Hi, friends. As you might have already realized, looking at the technology today is at its all time high. That the global semiconductor industry has now emerged as one of the most crucial sectors in the 21st century, since it powers everything from smartphones, computers, to AI, to electrical vehicles, to even military and medical devices. Now, in this high stakes game, countries all over the world, especially the developed ones, are pouring in billions of dollars into their semiconductor industries. And at the center of this battle is China, which is investing a staggering 37 billion euros determined to achieve technological self sufficiency and also become a dominant force in the global semiconductor arena. So, let's talk about China's semiconductor ambition. China's push into the semiconductor sector has become one of the most important aspects of its broader technological strategy. For decades, China has been reliant on foreign manufacturers for advanced semiconductors, particularly those made by the US companies like Intel, AMD, and Nvidia, as well as European manufacturer ASML and Taiwanese manufacturers such as TSMC. However, China's vision is clear, that is to reduce its dependence on external sources and eventually create a domestic semiconductor supply chain that rivals that of the US, Europe, South Korea, and Taiwan. This ambition is fueled by the realization that semiconductor chips are the lifeblood of modern economies. Every piece of technology, from military hardware to consumer electronics, you name it, relies on semiconductor chips to function. Now, control over the production of these chips equals self sufficiency in technology, building economic power, but also ensure China's national security. This is all the more important for China as geopolitical tensions between the US and China intensify, particularly over issues like trade, technology, and military power. China's desire to secure semiconductor independence has become more pressing and critical than ever. Now let's talk about China's massive investments in R&D and manufacturing. So in response to this need for self-sufficiency, China has launched a series of massive investments aimed at boosting its domestic semiconductor industry. Now, these investments are part of a broader initiative under the government's Made in China 2025 plan, which aims to make the country a leader in key technological sectors, including semiconductors, by the mid 2020s. Let's understand China's strategy, which includes the following action plan. First, research and development. So China is investing heavily in R&D to develop homegrown semiconductor technologies with a particular focus on manufacturing processes and equipments that can rival those being used by leaders like TSMC. Government funded projects are pushing Chinese companies to innovate in areas such as photolithography, chip design, as well as material science. Second is fabrication plants or called fabs. China is building its own semiconductor fabrication plants with companies like SMIC or Semiconductor Manufacturing International Corporation leading the charge. SMIC, the largest chip maker in China, is working on developing cutting-edge chip making technologies, including those using 7 nanometer and 5 nanometer processes, although it is still behind the world's leading manufacturers in terms of technology. Third, government subsidies. The Chinese government has poured in billions of dollars in subsidies and tax incentives into domestic chip makers. These subsidies are meant to reduce the financial burden on Chinese firms as they attempt to catch up with the global competitors and establish a viable, competitive semiconductor industry. Fourth, talent acquisition and education. Recognizing the importance of human capital, China is aggressively investing in semiconductor education and recruitment. China is sending its top engineers abroad to study at leading institutions, then offering incentives to top talent to return and work in booming semiconductor sector. Also, local Chinese universities are ramping up semiconductor focused programs to supply a steady stream of engineers. So with all of these measures, China aims to essentially build and grow its semiconductors manufacturing sector so it becomes an economic superpower and also self-reliant in terms of today's cutting-edge technologies. Now here comes the problem, that is the global semiconductor supply chain and China's challenges. So despite China's ambitious goals, achieving semiconductor independence is not without significant challenges. The global semiconductor supply chain is extremely complex and relies on expertise and infrastructure that have been developed over decades. The US, Taiwan, South Korea, and Japan dominate key segments of this industry, such as advanced chip design, manufacturing equipment, and also cutting edge materials. One of the most significant challenges for China is its reliance on foreign technology for semiconductor manufacturing equipment. The US has placed severe restrictions on the sale of advanced semiconductor manufacturing tools to Chinese companies, particularly equipment required for the most advanced chip nodes. As a result, China faces a serious bottleneck in its ability to develop the most advanced chips, which are critical for everything from consumer electronics to military applications. Additionally, Taiwan's TSMC remains the global leader in advanced chip production, including the 5 nanometer and 3 nanometer chips being used in the latest smartphones, supercomputers, and artificial intelligence or the AI systems. China's attempts to catch up with the TSMC are impeded by the fact that Taiwan's position is largely untouchable for now, with Taiwan having decades of expertise and state-of-the-art production facilities. Let's discuss another challenge on the way to China's semiconductor strategy, and that is the US and Western pushback. Now, the US has always viewed China's semiconductor ambitions with a mix of concern and competition. Let's understand that the US has long been the leader in semiconductor design and innovation, but China's rapid technological advancements have prompted Washington to take steps to protect its position. In the recent years, the US government has taken aggressive actions to prevent Chinese companies from gaining access to sensitive semiconductor technologies. A key example is the US ban on China's leading telecom giant Huawei, which has prevented the company from accessing the advanced semiconductor chips needed for its 5G infrastructure equipment. Similarly, the US government has imposed restrictions on Chinese companies like SMIC, essentially preventing them from accessing critical chip manufacturing technologies from the American firms. Western countries, particularly the US and its allies, are also working to strengthen their semiconductor industries. The Biden administration's CHIPS and Science Act, passed in 2022, offers over $50 billion in subsidies to encourage semiconductor manufacturing in the US and reduce dependence on foreign suppliers, particularly China. Now coming to China's progress and the future outlook. So despite the above mentioned setbacks, China's semiconductor sector has made significant progress. Chinese companies like SMIC, HiSilicon, and others have succeeded in developing chips for less advanced applications such as consumer electronics, automobiles, and low-end smartphones. Moreover, the Chinese government's heavy financial support has allowed local companies to rapidly expand their production capacity and also improve their technology. Looking ahead, China's semiconductor ambitions are likely to continue to evolve. China will likely focus on producing less advanced chips, such as those being used in automotive, IoT or the Internet of Things, and consumer electronics, while also working to develop domestic alternatives to the most advanced chips. However, whether China can fully overcome the technological barriers and emerge as a global semiconductor powerhouse remains to be seen. For now, we can say that China remains a powerful player in the semiconductor wars, but it faces an uphill battle to match the technological prowess of industry leaders like the US, Taiwan, and South Korea. So, in conclusion, China's push to dominate the global semiconductor industry represents a critical battle in the ongoing geopolitical and technological wars. With massive investments, strategic planning, and state-backed support, China is working to reduce its reliance on foreign semiconductor technology. However, the road to self-sufficiency is filled with challenges, as we have discussed, from technological hurdles to international pushbacks. Now, as this battle unfolds, the global semiconductor landscape will likely undergo profound shifts, with China positioning itself as a strong, though still evolving competitor.